Oh, man, the thought of that crazy cat still freaks me out. When I met Fluffy the cat in the mid 90s, I had never met an animal that despised me that much. He literally wanted to kill me. That fat 20-pound monster attacked me with the ferociousness of a lion. And Reedy? Well, he thought it was hilarious. This is the story I'm going to tell today on Bill Roseberry Stories. The time I survived a vicious attack from my friend's house cat, and my late best friend Jason Reedy supported me by laughing his ass off. I'm Bill Roseberry. Welcome to my channel and enjoy this original fact or fiction feature from my storytelling series that offers plenty of Gen X nostalgia and serves it up on the regular. As I peered out the passenger side window of the old blue Escort, I wondered why it was so damn important that I tag along on this mundane trip. Why do you want me to go to Cal's with you so bad? You knew I was busy, I said, my voice dripping with annoyance. I had finally gotten a PlayStation and felt cool like all my friends. The system had been out for about a year, and I hadn't purchased a gaming console since my original Nintendo. I was hooked. Man, your video games can wait. I want to see how Fluffy reacts when he sees you. This shit is going to be funny, Reedy said enthusiastically. I hadn't seen him this excited about anything in a while. He'd been obsessing over the story of my recent encounter with Cal's 20-pound tabby, Fluffy. He hadn't been there for the actual incident, but when I told him about it later, he'd laughed until he cried. Reedy whipped his small car into the driveway, immediately noticing the front door was open, leaving only the glass storm door between us and the interior. You hang back for a second, dude. I didn't tell Cal you were coming. I see Fluffy. I don't want him to see you yet. Reedy hopped from the car and gave me the hand signal to exit cautiously. Humoring him, I crouched as I climbed out of the Escort, hugging the side of the car as I moved toward the house. I was trying to stay out of Fluffy's line of sight like a fugitive on the run. Peering through the glass, Reedy saw the cat lying lazily on the carpeted edge where the living room met the hallway. A few steps led down to a small landing at the glass door, where the stairs then curved down into the basement. Hi, Fluffy, Reedy greeted the fat cat. Fluffy just looked at him with a casual, bored blink. I was tightly tucked against the house, out of sight, like a SWAT cop about to utilize the element of surprise. Look who I have with me, Reedy said, motioning for my dramatic entrance. I leaped into view. Before I could even make a sound, Fluffy sprang into action, transforming from a harmless house cat into a ferocious predator in a millisecond. His eyes went from lazy squints to dinner plates, and he let out a blood-curdling battle cry. Fluffy launched from his perch and charged down the short staircase, nearly taking flight. He battering rammed into the glass door, hissing, growling, and yowling with a primal fury. I stumbled back a couple of steps, the PTSD from our last encounter hitting me full force. The hair stood up on the back of my neck, and my heart began to pound. Reedy roared with laughter, doubling over and clutching his enormous belly. He couldn't even muster words. He just stood there wiping tears from his eyes. Damn it, Reedy, I heard Cal yelling as he darted around the corner from the hallway. Why didn't you tell me you were bringing Bill? I would have put Fluffy up before you got here. Cal reached down for the ball of flabby fury, but Fluffy was still clanging his head against the glass, trying to break through and murder me. Ouch! Damn it! Calm down, Fluffy, Cal yelled as the cat dug his claws into his arm, never breaking eye contact with me. Cal disappeared to find a corral for the wild animal. Reedy, gasping for air, was finally able to speak. Oh, man, dude, what the hell did you do to that cat? He asked, still wheezing. He hates your guts. I swear, I didn't do anything to him. That cat is just crazy, I pleaded. As I stood there, still in shock at the sheer disdain this animal held for me, I thought back to the harrowing encounter from 2 weeks prior. Cal was buried under the dash of my Ford Ranger in a sea of wires. He was a whiz when it came to electronics, and today's task was installing an alarm system to protect the badass sound system I just put in. Man, I gotta take a leak, I said, fidgeting while I watched him work. Just go through that door, up the stairs, and down the hallway. It's on the left, he directed, never looking up. And be quiet. My dad is still sleeping. He's on midnights. Okay, I responded. I didn't frequent Cal's house often. Usually we just hung out in the driveway or the garage. This was my first time inside. I gently closed the garage door and crept up the stairwell. Once upstairs, I saw the living room to my right and the hallway to my left. It was dark, but I left the lights off so I wouldn't wake Cal's dad. As I started down the hallway, I heard a low, menacing rumble behind me. It was eerie. I spun around to see where it originated. A chubby, tabby cat was glaring at me from a stalking position, belly low to the carpet, slowly creeping forward. Hey there, buddy. How are you? Calm down, pretty kitty, I said in a friendly, quiet whisper, backstepping through the hall. The cat's growl got louder with every step I took. Then I realized I'd passed the bathroom door. This angry feline was between me and my urinary relief. I took one step toward the cat, which he apparently took as a declaration of war. He screamed like a banshee and sprang for my throat. He latched onto my shirt with his front claws, reaching for my neck with ferocious fangs, while his back paws started a rhythmic digging motion toward my stomach, attempting to disembowel me. I felt like I was in an episode of Wild Kingdom. He was a lion, and I was a gazelle. This cat was playing for keeps. I used my hands to ward off the attack on my neck. But at nearly 20 pounds, the harmless pet was surprisingly strong. His claws were finding skin. Finally, I got a good grip on his midsection and tossed him to the floor. He landed with a thud and immediately coiled for a second strike. Now, I don't condone animal abuse. Never have and never will. But this was a matter of life and death. This flabby feline was trying to end me. I transformed from frightened victim into all-pro punter. I swung my leg back and timed it perfectly. As the cat began his second leap, I kicked forward and sent him airborne. He flew about a foot and barrel rolled backwards down the hall, landing right in front of a closed door just as it swung open. Emerging from the dark was Cal's dad, wiping his eyes and trying to gather his faculties. In the chaos, I hadn't realized how loud I'd been screaming, or how much the cat was squalling. "What the hell is going on?" the tired father queried. Right then, the brutal beast recovered his balance and braced for round 3. "Ah, damn it, Fluffy!" Cal's dad screamed as the cat scrambled over his bare feet to get another piece of me. Trapped at the back of the hallway, I saw my only sanctuary, an open bedroom door. I darted inside and slammed it. As the wooden frame met the latch, I locked eyes with Fluffy one last time. He had a glassed-over death stare that promised vengeance. I backed away as a heavy thud hit the door. I took a deep breath, but I could still hear the monster on the other side. More growls and banshee screams filled the air as Fluffy hurled his entire body weight against the wood, attempting to break the door down. Then came my savior. "Damn it! Calm down, Fluffy, and come on," Cal's dad commanded. The growling and hissing grew fainter. I huddled in the corner until I heard a door slam down the hall and the sound of human footsteps approaching. "Okay, Bill, you can come out." I closed Fluffy up in my room. "It's safe," Cal's dad said. He was wide awake now. Like a survivor emerging from an air raid shelter, I cracked the door and looked wide-eyed down the hall. I assure it's safe, Cal's dad said again, coaxing me out with a warm, tired smile. Just then, Cal came flying around the corner. What the hell is going on? It sounded like a riot in here. I don't know, man, I squeaked, still trying to lower my heart rate. Your crazy cat just tried to kill me. Reedy's boisterous, incessant laughing snapped me back to the present. He couldn't stop. He reacted as if my near-death experience with a house cat was the peak of cinematic comedy. Man, you got your ass kicked by a cat named Fluffy. He laughed, his mouth agape, his whole body shaking. You might be the biggest pussy I know. Fluffy the cat was crazy. I was not exaggerating when I said this cat tried to disembowel me. I was fearful for my life. When I told Reedy about it and asked if he would have helped me during the attack, he said, Hell no, I would have laughed my ass off. Some best friend, huh? If you like this crazy tale, click like and subscribe and be back here on Bill Roseberry Stories next week for my next story of original content. Also, join the waiting list to be one of the firsts to get my upcoming debut fiction suspense novel, A Matter of Life and Death. See what happens when four boys come across an abandoned house in the woods and find $8 million. Why is the house abandoned? Where did the money come from? Twists and turns lead you down a winding, dark country road to an unforgettable ending. Best of all, two of the main characters are based on Reedy and I, with the fiction anchored in our childhoods and lives. I'll see you next week with another Fact or Fiction feature right here at Bill Roseberry Stories.